There we go. Good girl. Come say hi. Come say hi. Come say hi. Yeah, it's a little piggy harness. There you go. Yeah. Our offices are in Brooklyn. I'm right now in Jersey City. Yeah, yeah. So you have to make sure with your city that you live in that pet pigs are okay. Um, and yeah, so they do allow pet pigs. They're actually um, two pigs in Hamilton Park in Jersey City. We haven't met them yet. And then let me see who else. Oh, Bayonne has a couple of pigs, but that's Bayonne. Yeah. You want to be on camera? You want to come here? Want to come here? Are you gonna act up or are you gonna be good? Hey, mama should go. Mama should go goose. Right? If they want to see your big face, they want to see all of you. They want to see all of you. Right? Not just half of you. Okay. This is all I'm gonna get? Okay. Let me see if I can move her around 1 second. There you go. Come. 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 There. Okay. Why don't we take the harness off from the shot? Okay.
Do you walk her?
Yeah, I just took her out before we got on this call. So I walked both of my dog and my and her together. Krishna is my dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever get weird looks or questions? I feel like.
Oh my God, is that a pig? That's what I get a lot. And people walk by, and they walk by. They don't say anything, and then they do a double take. They're like, I thought that was a small dog. It's a pig. Oh my gosh.
So cute.
Yeah, she's a cutie pie. Her name's Anjali.
Anjali.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna start this podcast recording, hoping that maybe she'll stay the whole time. Is it he or she?
She.
She. Okay. Hopefully she'll stay for the entirety of the episode, but we'll see. I don't know how.
I can't promise.
Yeah. Oh.
I'll try to keep her in the shot. This is her usual favorite spot, so.
Okay.
I'll try to keep her in the shot as much as I can.
So cute. All right. Well, I think an introduction is in order, and I would want to kind of ask you about, give me a introduction about yourself, your background, your interests and hobbies.
Yeah, so my name is Aparna. I'm the founder and CEO of Spot On. And my interests and hobbies are spot on. I'm a startup founder, so if I'm not living and breathing my company, then, we're still at a very young stage where it has to be, it has to be all, we have to be go all the time. Mm-hmm. But I am trying my level best to balance out my working with just, downtime and things like that. That's why I have my pets. That's my downtime. That's my, stress reliever, just having them around.
I'm assuming since your startup is also about animals that you also love animals, because clearly you have a pet pig.
I do. I mean, yes, I'm an animal lover. Yeah. I have a dog who's 16. He's walking around over there. And of course, this is Anjali. She is going to be 2 in the beginning of July. And yeah, I mean, look, the reason why I started Spot On was for them. Actually, not for her, because I didn't have her at the time. But my 2 dogs, Raja and Krishna. Mm-hmm. And again, Krishna, I think, is just walking around here. Raja was like an 80-pound chocolate lab, beautiful boy. Ooh. And Krishna is about 55 pounds. He's a Chow Pei, and he's 16. So I started this for them, because of them. When I was living in LA, it was very difficult for us to get around town when I had them with me. I order other ride-hailing services, and they'd show up and just pass by, And when you're trying to get to the airport, because they do travel with me a lot, the most stressful thing is getting them to the airport. It's not even the
Yeah.
flight. It's literally getting them there, getting checked in. And if we don't have something that's reliable, it's just like, great, what do I do? You paid money to get on a flight and you can't make it. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, there's got to be a better way. We pet parents spend a lot of money on our pets, but the one thing that's lacking is adequate transportation when you have your pets. And that's basically the reason why I started Spot On. Oh, hello. I think we're gonna get her butt today. Oh, I moved over.
I think
but yes.
Yep.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I can tell for cats, because you keep them in a carrier and they're generally small, they're okay for most Ubers and Lyfts, but for you particularly, they sound like big dogs. Is that usually the reason why they're like, no?
So you would think so. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, yeah, big dogs definitely have a problem. But we've had a lot of cases where someone with a small dog or a cat in a carrier would get in, or even, one of those carrier bags that look all frou-frou bags, a little for pets. They'd get in and the driver realizes there's a pet in the car. They'll stop right there and let them out. So that's the thing. I mean, yeah, I guess you can sneak them in, but if you need to get to the doctor right away to see the vet, and you get into one of the other services and all of a sudden they let you out midway, what are you going to do? Right? So that's why we are the solution. All our drivers are vetted to be pet friendly. So it's not just check the box, hey, I'm pet friendly. It's we make sure. We run them through the animal cruelty database along with their background check. And we make sure that they are, in fact, pet friendly. Now, if you're one of our drivers, you don't have to be all pet friendly, because we understand people may be allergic to dogs or allergic to cats. They may have somebody in their family that's also allergic to some sort of animal, and that's totally fine. What we say is you can be any pet friendly, not all pet friendly. And drivers can choose what type of pets they want to take and whatnot. So for example, you have 2 cats. We'd send it out to drivers who will take cats. If you had 3 Great Danes, if you were one of our drivers and you're allergic to dogs, then you can state that and you'd never get a dog request. Now, say you had a small car, you can also state, well, I'll take any animal, but they have to be under 30 pounds. So we take into consideration a lot of different criteria before we send out the ride to the drivers. And obviously this is done through our technology. We don't sit there sifting through our drivers and their cars. Our app actually matches up the passenger and their situation with the right driver.
Yeah, I was looking at the app and I was like, this can definitely save a lot of pain, because I used to do fostering. And I actually started doing this during the pandemic. So when I did this, I was like, well, I'm not going to go all the way just to pick up a cat to foster. And usually they had to send some kind of transporter to do it. But this would have been a great, excellent opportunity for Spot On to go in. And not to mention, I also do rover cat sitting on the side as well. So a lot of times when they do boarding, it's constantly like, oh, I have to drive all the way there. I don't have a car, clearly, so I'm going to take some kind of Uber. And then I always hear about like, oh, how do I fit 3 cats into an Uber? And then I get a weird look from them and like, oh, do you really expect me to do this? So Spot On, now I'm going to definitely recommend them, because I think this is definitely going to solve a lot of problems, especially in New York, because not a lot of people have cars and not a lot of people are willing to take their cats or dogs on a subway. Like there's this ridiculous rule that your dog needs to be in a bag, and you see a lot of memes on that, so that's funny. But sometimes you can't have a subway ride on it. Maybe they're really anxious subway riders, but I really like this idea, which is why I was like so excited to have you on this podcast, because I have a lot of questions as a pet owner and also as someone who's aspiring to be an entrepreneur.
No, thank you. I'm honored to be on the show. We are honored to be on the show. And yeah, I mean, you bring up some great points. We help rescues all throughout New York City. I say I have a 50-50 household. Raja, I got at a breeder, beautiful chocolate lab, and Krishna I actually rescued from the shelter. It was a high kill shelter in Los Angeles. So, I strongly believe in rescues and making sure we're clearing the shelters and turning kill shelters into no kill shelters, all that good stuff. And what I really wanted to do was give back. And we have an initiative called Take a Ride, Save a Life. It's really simple. If you take a ride with us and use a coupon code from one of our partner rescues, that specific partner rescue will get a free ride. And this came in very handy, especially through the pandemic, where even though there were virtual adoptions, we were able to do that transport, a white glove transport from the foster's home to their forever home. And pre-pandemic, we were helping a lot of foster organizations and rescue organizations take those, as you said, transportation. A lot of fosters are like, well, I can't get to that adoption event. And that's probably the key thing to do when you have a foster, is not home it, but get to those events, because that's the way they find their forever home. And we were able to do that. And we're still able to do that. We offer that to a lot of our rescues. We want to partner up with more rescues. So if you have any supporters right out there that are listening, that are connected with rescue organizations, please contact us. SpotOn.Pet. Let us know where you are and we'll try to help you out.
That's amazing. And right now you guys are just in New York City, right?
Yes, we are in New York City. We service all 5 boroughs. We are licensed to take people, which is a little bit different than some of your pet taxis that are out there. And then we're specifically for the pet population. So we can take you with your pet. We can take you alone. Like say, for example, you had to drop your pet off at the vet. You come in our car with your 2 cats. We'll take you to the vet. Then we'll drive you back or wherever you need to go. And then when you need to pick them back up, we can either pick them up for you with our pet only service, or you can come along and get them as well.
Yeah, I think for me, the pet only service is a game changer. There's just so many opportunities for that where, I mean, there's a few times where it's just a lot more annoying to get actual clients to go all the way there and then drop their cat off, when it could just be simple to just drop them off and trust the other person, in this case me, to just pick their cat off from their car.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really awesome that we have some great drivers that are completely trained to know, how to handle a pet in the car. And I'm not saying take them out and play with them. I'm saying there are different factors that you have to think about when you're a driver. It's not just taking someone who's sitting in the back seat from point A to point B. There's an animal in the back. It'll make noise. Now, of course, we do have safety restraints. We have backseat covers to mitigate pet wear and tear. We have safety seat belts for pets to keep them safe during travel. Excuse me. All cats have to be in carriers. So that's really great, right? But we make sure that the carrier is strapped in with a seat belt so that cat is safe during travel. And that's what's most important for us. I come from the consumer side of things. I've never been an Uber driver or Lyft driver, but I come from the consumer. I know I've used them all before, and I know what it is that I wanted to create that would make me feel comfortable putting my dog in the car or my pig in the car. So I wanted to make sure those things were in place. And we've been learning from our customers, both drivers and passengers. We treat our drivers as customers as well, about what they're looking for. What is it that they want to see? What kind of features do they want? And we're adapting them and trying to make this better.
Definitely. So before all of this, I was really curious about your story. So was it mostly just that from your LA trip that you're like, oh, I can't even get to the freaking airport. How do I do this? Was that the whole start of it? Like, what was the story from then to now?
Yeah, that was basically it. I was like, I'm not able to get my 2 dogs very simply 6 miles to the airport. I'm either playing roulette with one of the other services, even taxi cabs. And you call the taxi and you say, hey, I have a dog, and the guy will come and he'll go right past. Or I'm begging my friends to take me to the airport, and there's only so much begging you can do. 2 dog crates, luggage, myself. Finally paying my car service hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to go 6 miles. Obviously, if I have to get on a plane, that's what I'm going to do, but it shouldn't be that way. And that was the reason why I started it. And before releasing any type of technology, I wanted to make sure that other pet parents were having the same type of problem that I was. And so I decided to go to dog parks outside of the ones that we frequent, and talk to other pet parents and see if they're having the same situation. And they were. So then I decided to take it up a notch. I went to LAX, stood outside the United and American terminals for probably a good month. And I talked to every single person coming and going with a cat, a hamster, whatever kind of animal that they had with them. And I was asking them simple questions. How did you get here? Why are you traveling with your pet? And would you use a service that could get you here, you know, quite easily? And the answers were just the same that I've been having. I travel with my pets because they're a member of my family. You know, airlines are very pet friendly now. Hotels are very pet friendly. And in some cases, people want to save some money, so they want to take their pet with them because it might be cheaper than, you know, keeping them at a boarding facility or using someone to take care of them. So, you know, if other major brands that you go to for travel are pet friendly, then why can't a car be pet friendly? So that's kind of where it started. And then I started talking to Uber and Lyft drivers and asking them, hey, why would you take a pet? Why wouldn't you take a pet? And realized there is a segment of the population of drivers that would. So from there, I went to my co-founder, John, now co-founder, and he's also our CTO. He's the one I trust with technology. And I said, yo, I want to do an Uber for pets. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I want to be able to take my 2 dogs, order a car and get in and not have the looks, not have them tell me that he can't, you know, my boys can't go here, they can't go there. I just want to get in a car and be able to go. And he's like, hold on. Believe it or not, that hold on was for 3 months. The dude ghosted me. For 3 months he ghosted me. And then he came back to me, he's like, hey, I became a ride-hailing driver. And I figured out how their system works. And I think we can do this and do it better. And that's how it started. That's all I needed. So wow. Yeah, we started with a little pilot. Okay, so correction, I was a driver. I was driver number 1 for our pilot. And by the end of the pilot, I had friends driving for me. We had over 500 rides in about 3 months, and we weren't charging any money. And that was because we didn't get any permits. We were just doing an experiment, taking a friend, you know, to the airport or wherever they needed to go. And towards the end of it, people were donating money, you know, gas money and stuff. So I knew I had something that I could monetize. So at that point, I decided, let's make this official, start getting permits and really do this right. And while I was in the process of doing that, people from New York heard about what we were doing, and they were like, hey, this has to come here. And again, I was in LA and I was like, well, okay, I have family out here in New Jersey area. So I picked up my 2 boys, 2 suitcases, and I came out here to launch Spot On. And since then, we've been able to service all 5 boroughs of New York City. We're looking to expand now. You know, we're pretty much going city by city to see where is it that we can fit well the best. And if you want Spot On in your city, please contact us. Let us know, because we will definitely come.
That's amazing. I'm so happy that you found a solution to this problem, like especially in New York. I know it's definitely a problem for a lot of people I know. If you don't have a car, if you don't want to deal with the subway and the anxiety that comes with it, it's such a great idea.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, pets really, I mean, you know, dogs and cats, you don't want them riding the subway. There's a lot of noise and there's just a lot of stimulation, and you know, it's not a happy environment for them. We've had a lot of customers tell us that, hey, you know what? My cat hates to go in the car. It's such an ordeal. And if we get to the destination, maybe it's a vet office, that whole vet visit is just, you know, so anxiety filled. And after we took the Spot On, it was very calm. My cat loved it. The appointment was great, you know, and it all starts with that experience. And that's why it's so important for us to get the word out about what we're doing. We're just not a regular taxi or ride-hailing service. We're really catering to the pet population, and we're trying to do it the right way, so it addresses all their issues.
Amazing. So, other than Spot On, what has been your career journey up until this point? Like, did you have experience with tech in general before this?
So I'm a non-technical founder. Although I'm brown, I'm not the technical one in this. John is. Yeah, but I was a startup founder. I started a couple of businesses, and the one that I started up before Spot On was my marketing company. It was a boutique marketing firm. I actually ran it for about 10 years before I started Spot On. It was just something that I had to do. Like, Spot On was searing in my brain. It was the problem that I just needed to solve. And I was in a position to say, okay, let me leave this and jump headfirst into ride hailing for pets.
So moving forward, what's your vision for Spot On and your biggest goal that once you achieve it, you know that you've made it?
I don't know if that's ever going to happen because there's always something better or something bigger that you have to strive for, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously for a founder, any founder, the two goals are either IPO or exit, right? Mm-hmm. So that means that you were successful in this. So that, yes, that's a possibility. But in order for us to get to those points of IPO or exit, we have to build the company in the right way. We have to build the foundation of the company. And that's what I'm trying to do now. We're starting here in New York. We plan on expanding to other major cities all across the country and definitely, overseas, the world. We want to dominate the world.
So I would imagine, especially with something like this, permits is a big thing, regulations is a big thing. What were the obstacles and hardships that you faced trying to bring up Spot On in New York, or just in general, like anywhere?
Well, I think the biggest thing is proving that we're different than the other ones that are out there. Mm-hmm. Everyone is always and continues to, compare us to the other guys, Uber, Lyft, Via, those kind of things. And yes, we're in the same space, in the same, I guess, world of ride hailing, but our market is different. And those guys are just not focused on the specific market the way we are. So that's been the biggest hurdle is just getting people to realize that we're different. And yes, permitting, the red tape, I mean, that's just going to come with the territory. And everywhere you go, you have to make sure that you have the permits, and we're not going to launch anywhere that, without permits. Okay. We want to make sure that we're doing this the right way. And to be quite frank with you, the other guys, the bigger guys, have paved the way for this. So now it's much easier to get those permits, because when they launched, this never existed. Yeah. So, they were kind of chasing themselves around and saying, well, what do we do? How do we, government was like, how do we, understand this and, get permitting for this. So because of what they've done allows me to do what I can do much easier.
Mm-hmm. So I see you have only a team of 3, as a very small but mighty team. So are you planning on growing that soon, taking interns? A lot of people in my audience, they're in tech. They would probably love this idea as well. So kind of curious about that.
Yeah, we have a small but mighty team. And yes, we are hiring. Hire. If you want to work for us, contact me. Aparna and SpotOn.Pet. We're looking for a lot of different positions, not just tech, but business development, customer relations. If you've been in ride hailing or in transportation, we'd love to talk to you. So yeah, definitely we're looking for people to really build the team. That's the focus of what we're going to be doing for the next couple months, because without a team, we can't grow, right? Mm-hmm. We're just going to be sitting here in our little lane, in the slow lane. But if we really want to make this a solid company that we can take globally, we need to start with a team.
Mm-hmm. And to even have a team, you need VC funding. So I actually did see that at least female founded startups, they don't get as much funding compared to a lot of others. So kind of curious about how that has been for you.
Yeah, that it's been difficult. We all know the stats. Very few VC dollars go into female founded companies. Even fewer go to women of color like me. Mm-hmm. And even fewer go to, non-binary founders. And I mean, it's got to change. A lot of VCs, a lot of funds are talking about the change, but they really haven't made that change. I'm fortunate enough to have quite a few VCs, quite a few firms that have supported us, shown interest in us, are cultivating and helping us grow, not just with funding, but also, like I said, developing our team, developing me as a founder, and really developing the company. So I'm very fortunate enough to have found those firms and angel investors that have really supported us. I think every single one of our investors, I really don't even call them investors, I call them partners, because each one of them is not just putting in money, but they're really trying to make a difference in helping me grow this business.
And so with this funding, what is like the biggest goal that you have right now? Is it hiring, or is there something particularly on the platform that you're trying to do that you need people for to help you do that?
Yeah, so we are going to be hiring, as I said. That's one of the main goals. The other goal is to go deeper in New York. So we've only scratched the surface on what we've been able to do in New York City. So it's really important for us to keep digging and keep going deeper in New York, because that's the only way we're going to be able to find out what's going to work in other cities. Now, of course, every city's different, but if we can cultivate as much of New York as possible, we can learn from that and try to adapt it to other cities, and then learn from those cities and adapt it, keep going forward.
Amazing. So I do have a few questions more as a potential client, and well, I guess if you consider riders as well.
Yeah.
So I personally have a question, because I looked at the app and I saw it only mentions 1 pet, but is it open to 3 pets? Because I do have 3 cats.
So yes, and we're kind of changing this around, because we've heard this too. People do have multiple pets in the household. So this, our technology, this is just version 1. We're in the process of building another app that is, or not another app, but we're in the process of getting a better version of the app out. So you'll be able to put your pet profiles in. So maybe you have 3 cats and 2 dogs. You can put all 5 of their profiles in, and then pick which one is coming with you. Either all of them, maybe 2 of them, maybe 1 of them. So that's important for us. And also the ability to give drivers more options. And that's really important for us. We are a different company than your other livery and ride hailing services. We really care about the drivers, and we've heard from them too. We've heard what they like, what they don't like, and we're trying to adapt that and make those changes.
So I know you require cats to be in carriers, but like for a big dog, honestly, I can't really imagine how you would fit that into a car, unless you get a really big car, you put the seats down. But do you guys even allow pets out in the open without being in a carrier or secured to something?
Yeah, I mean, of course, cats have to be in carriers for obvious reasons. And small dogs have a choice of being in a carrier. But if you have a Great Dane and you don't have a cage, that's okay, or crate, that's okay. We have safety restraints, seat belts that actually hook up to a harness, and that keeps the pet safe during travel. So if the driver brakes really hard, it actually holds them back like a seatbelt does. So we're, again, putting things in place that are specifically designed for the pet world. And we've had actually one of our regular customers is a 100-pound Pyrenees mix. Great Pyrenees is a big white dog. I mean, she's about 100 pounds. I'm going to call you out, Millie. Millie is one of our regulars, and she has a regular driver that drives a Honda Accord. She just hops in the back seat, gets strapped in, and is on her way. So she loves it.
So I would assume for the drivers, one of the biggest concerns would be safety. Like, what if a dog barks, or what if something happens and then got distracted during the car, God forbid, like an actual accident. So what were some things in place that were helping that? Yeah,
so all our drivers go through a training course, and it kind of just goes over things that you need to look for. And we, pre-pandemic, this was easier to do. We had ride-alongs for drivers where, we had a qualified driver, an experienced driver come along with a new driver and kind of, help them through their first couple of rides. Now, we don't put any driver that's going to be taking either a pet-only ride or a person and pet ride unless they've passed our course. And if they get low ratings on our platform, then we put them back into the course to make sure that they are, understand how things work. And if they're still having problems, then this might not be the right company for them. But we try our very, very, very best to make sure that we're not only cultivating good drivers, but keeping them up to date on things that they need to be aware of when they're driving.
That's great. So what is actually usually your issue? Is it getting more riders, or is it getting more drivers?
Now it's a little bit of both. Obviously, we can always have more rides. we've partnered up with lots of vets, groomers, or we're working on partnering up with groomers and daycare services. So we have built our business off of those kind of relationships, and we need a lot more of them. But drivers have fallen off the wayside because of the pandemic. We have lost a lot of drivers. It's slowly coming back, but we are going to be doing a push for drivers. So if you're listening out there and you want to drive for us, contact us.
Yeah, actually, I think I found, I don't know, you may have already considered this, a market for the breeders, particularly. There was a lot of times where I had to, one of my cats is actually in Brooklyn, but I had to constantly Uber back and forth. There's no way I'm going to take a subway. It didn't have a direct line. And if I took an Uber, I always get weird looks. And I don't even know if I'm going to even be able to pick up this cat. So that's actually one really good one that, like, when a lot of people go to this breeder, they're maybe coming from New Jersey or they're coming from Connecticut and they're coming straight just for this cat or dog or whatever. But that probably would also be a great opportunity for you too.
Yeah, and actually what we designed is we have this white glove service where if you are going to do a pet only ride, and this would be for breeders, this would also be, say for example, you know, you're doing your next podcast, but your two cats have to go to the vet, and you don't want to send them alone. Well, you can opt in for our white glove service where we actually have a pet handler in the car. We've partnered up with a pet concierge in New York City, and we hope to do this in every city and around the world. Partner up with qualified pet handlers, dog walkers, to not drive for us, but to be in the car to assist with the pet during travel. Again, this is not anything medical. This is purely as another safety measure. Because I'll be honest with you, our drivers are not pet handlers. They have an option of going through a pet handling course, but they're just drivers. And I would, you know, it would be hard for a driver to get out of the car, take the pet for a walk and put him back in. Now, if you're a dog walker, you handle different pets all the time. So that's kind of in your wheelhouse. So that's what we did. We partnered up with a pet concierge called Hound Honey in New York City. And if there are other pet concierges out there, please contact us. We'd love to partner with you. And yeah, the white glove service is really simple. Someone will come in a spot on, the pet concierge. They get out, they go into your house, they'll retrieve your pet, secure them in the car, and stay with them during the travel and during the visit that you have them for. And then they'll, you know, do the return. We do this a lot with breeders. They have puppies or kittens that need to fly out. And we've actually gone to the breeder, collected the pet, made sure all the paperwork is in order, and the pet concierge will do all that. And then we drive them to the airport, check them in. Again, it's a pretty detailed process. So we want to make sure it's done right, and done in a way that makes the pets safe and comfortable. And it's been a great help for breeders who want to, you know, who have pets that they need to fly out. It's also helped a lot of rescue organizations that have flown pets in and out or had to pick them up from the airport. So it makes a big difference.
And honestly, I was trying to figure out a solution to this problem I've been having, because I'm also wedding planning for my own wedding, and I wanted my cats to actually be involved in the ceremony, but right after I gotta take photos, and the cats are gonna be very stressed out. So I was actually wondering, do I call an Uber? Do I get a Rover cat sitter to do it? But this is this is the solution to my problem.
This is your solution to your problem.
So I'm so happy you're actually offering this.
And we love to pick up your cats from your wedding.
Thank you so much. I never thought I would have a little therapeutic session here, but I'm like, oh, you just solved so many problems of mine from the wedding. All right, so I do have a few other questions, and honestly, it's really just to talk about your experience as a woman at this point. So there's definitely some kind of barriers of entry to become an actual founder of an actual startup, because number one, maybe you have kids, maybe you have obligations at home, just being a woman, just being a mother, being a wife, or whatever, what have you. And then after that, you're like, okay, now I have to kind of ditch everything behind, or have a lot of faith on whoever they need to do, like for example, taking care of your pets, to be able to do that so you can do your day job. Did you have any issues like that? Or not even just that, but sometimes even the startup costs actually is a big problem, is that women are not paid as well as men, so naturally they may not have as much money saved, or maybe you're going to get a lot of people that look at you weirdly when you're trying to go for investments and like, yeah, I'm not going to help you out. So what were the issues that you were facing and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, you hit a lot of them. I don't have kids. My dogs, and now my little piggy Anjali, they're my children. And yeah, I mean, it was, look, Spot On, I had to do it. There really wasn't a choice for me. I was feeling the pain of having my dogs and not being able to travel freely with them. So it was something that I really had to do. And I made a conscious decision to do it. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, I feel like doing this. And you know, being single, no real commitments, it was a little bit easier for me to make those decisions. Yeah. But once I made those decisions, the same hardships that I felt, right? Going to founders or going to investors and saying, hey, I'm doing this, what do you think? And actually, I when I first started raising money, you know, I come from a well-to-do family, but it's not like they're loaded and they can fund this. Yeah. By no means can they, and I wouldn't want them to. This is something that I wanted to achieve on my own. But with that said, you know, I didn't have that network of, you know, investment bankers or, you know, hedge fund managers or things like that. I just come from a regular immigrant household where my parents worked hard, got everything that they wanted to get in life, and showed us hard work really pays off. So using that, I mean, I expanded my network. Slowly but surely, I've expanded my network. But in the process of that, I actually remember this. I went to an event, and I'm like, you know, talking to everybody about Spot On, and this one guy's like, oh my God, I have cats. I'd love to use Spot On. But this is such a great weekend business. I was like, a weekend business? What are you talking about, weekend business? He's like, yeah, I don't really see this going anywhere, but it's a good, like, you know, side hustle. I'm like, okay. So if a guy came up to you and said that, hey, I just launched in New York City and we're doing a lot. We've partnered up with Google and WeWork and Petco. Would you take them seriously? Of course you would. But I'm walking into the room and I do the same thing and like, oh, this is a good side business. Yeah. And I actually would love to prove those people wrong. And I think I've started on the path to do that. But I'm not doing this to prove people wrong. I'm really doing this to help the pet population. Yeah. Not just the fosters and rescues. We get so many people that have sent us testimonials saying, my dog was dying. I needed to get to the vet. And, you know, Uber, Lyft, taxis passed me by and you guys were around. And I just happened to find out about you. So I really would love to spread the word about what we're doing and help every pet parent out there. I'm glad. So other questions that I had was, do you have any advice for women in the workplace? It doesn't have to be like in the founder space or in the pet or ride hailing, but just in general. Yeah, I mean, do what drives you. Like, I mean, it's just general for anybody. Do what drives you and you'll get there. Be it, you know, you're a starting up developer and you want to get to a CTO, just put your head down, do the work, and you'll get there. If you put your mind to it, you'll get there. And there are going to be obstacles in the way, but as long as you can get over them or through them or around them, you'll be fine. And that's actually, you know, it's your grit. It's your grit and just your passion of getting to your goal. That's the most important thing. So what exactly is on the horizon for you in 2022? Personally for you or for Spot On? Well, right now, personally, it's all Spot On. So 2022, well, personally, I hope I'm in a relationship. So, hey, guys, if you're single and want to mingle with me, let me know. Hey, I'll do a personal plug. I don't mind. But yeah, so it's really about expanding Spot On. We're going to be, you know, closing out our funding round pretty soon, getting the team together, going deeper in New York, and then setting the stage up for our next raise to expand. and hopefully, be everywhere, all over the world soon.
Okay. And where can we find you on social media or Spot on social media?
Yeah, so Spot On social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just look for spoton.pet. And you can also download us on Google Play or iTunes, and you just put spoton.pet in the search bar and it should pop right up.
Amazing. And what can we do to support you?
You can spread the word about what we're doing. And if there are any viewers in New York that would love to use us, I'll go ahead and set up a coupon code for you guys. And they can have, a discount on a couple of rides.
Amazing. And I always ask this in the beginning of the actual podcast interview, but I got too into it. But the icebreaker I always ask is like, if you had all the time in the world, what would you be doing? I feel like you'd probably be like, be with my animals or do exactly what you're doing right now.
I would say if I had all the time in the world, I'd probably still be doing what I'm doing now because there is no solution.
Yeah.
Right? After this, when I have more time on my hands, I'll probably be sitting on a beach relaxing with my piggy and doggy.
So one last question, I'm actually still curious about this, is that have you ever tried to bring your pig onto an Uber or Lyft? Like, do they even let you? And if so, how was that experience?
So I've done Yes My Dogs, and Uber does have Uber Pet, and I have requested an Uber Pet when I've had my dog with me and when I've just had my pig with me and when I've had both of them with me. And all 3 times, even though it's an Uber Pet ride, I get declined. And it's not when I book the ride, it's when they arrive.
Okay.
And that's why we are different. And that's the other reason we're different, because when you book a ride with Spot On, the driver already knows ahead of time what your situation is. Do you have a dog? Do you have a cat? You have 3 dogs? You have a hamster? You have a pig? Already known. And that's, really important, because you want to make sure that you get the right experience for both the driver and the passenger. And the worst experience is when someone shows up and they cancel on you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for bringing Spot On to this world. I'm really excited, especially for the wedding. Actually, when I was looking at the app, I didn't see the pet concierge. Is that something that's going to come out, or is that something that's done separately?
Yeah, that's coming out real soon.
Okay.
You're going to see an option for pet concierge. We're working with Hound Honey right now, and it's currently internal. So anytime if you use Hound Honey, you can ask to use a Spot On when there's a Hound Honey, when you're using Hound Honey services. And then we're going to be transitioning that into the app and making it just a little button.
Amazing. And all of her social media handles are going to be down in the description. The way to download the app, and I feel like everyone should try it out at least with your pets, or if you want to be a driver, definitely check it out. And also if you're interested in a job or internship with Spot On, also reach out to her as well.
Yeah, drivers, we pay a lot of money. Sorry, we pay a lot more than the other guys, so come check us out. We'd love to have you as a driver.
Thank you so much.